Good afternoon. This is All India Radio. I'm Abhishek Mukhopadhyay, and with me is Lalima Aneja Dang with the Midday News. The headlines. People must be at the heart of any infrastructure growth story, says Prime Minister Narendra Modi in a video message to the 4th edition of the International Conference on Disaster Resilient Infrastructure. Prime Minister to take part in the 2nd IndiaNordic Summit in Denmark this evening. India and Denmark signed 9 agreements. Prime Minister Modi holds talks with his Danish counterpart Nath in Copenhagen. IPO of Life Insurance Corporation of India worth 21,000 crore rupees opens for public subscription today. Government releases Civil Registration System Report 2020. Number of registered births decreases by 2.40% from 2.48 crores in 2019 to 2.42 crore in the year 2020. President Kovind addresses concluding session of Bodo Sahitya Sabha in Tamilpur, Assam, lauds concerted efforts in Northeast region for peace and development. 12th Hockey India Sub-Junior Men National Championship 2022 begins in Goa today. IPL 2022 playoffs and final schedule announced. And in today's IPL, Royal Challengers Bangalore to take on Chennai Super Kings at Maharashtra Cricket Association Stadium in Pune. Prime Minister Narendra Modi today said India remains committed to meeting the needs of the poorest and the most vulnerable by building the next generation infrastructure to realize their aspirations. In a video message at the 4th edition of the International Conference on Disaster Resilient Infrastructure, Mr. Modi said, people must be at the heart of any infrastructure growth story. He said that infrastructure is about people and providing them high quality, dependable and sustainable services in an equitable manner.
People must be at the heart of any infrastructure growth story, and that is exactly what we in India are trying to do. As we scale up the provision of fundamental services in India, from education to health, from drinking water to sanitation, from electricity to transport and much more, we are also tackling climate change in a very direct. That is why at COP26 we have committed to attain net zero by 2070 in parallel with our developmental efforts.
The Prime Minister also talked about the importance of infrastructure in unleashing the human potential and said that damage to infrastructure leads to lasting damage for generations. He said solemn promise of the Sustainable Development Goals is to leave no one behind.
We have to work towards a resilient infrastructure transition, which is the primary focus of this conference. If we make infrastructure resilient, we prevent disasters not only for ourselves, but for many future generations. It is a shared dream, a shared vision that we can and we must translate into reality.
Mr. Modi said that in the short time of 2.5 years, Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure, CDRI, has taken important initiatives and made valuable contributions.
CDRI's work on strengthening the resilience of power system has already benefited communities in coastal India by reducing the duration of power disruption during cyclones. It has the potential to contribute to the resilience of global connectivity. The global assessment of disaster resilience of infrastructure system that is being led by CDRI will help create global knowledge that would be immensely valuable.
The International Conference on Disaster Resilient Infrastructure is an annual international conference and platform to continue building an engaged global community for disaster and climate resilient infrastructure. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will participate in the 2nd India-Nordic Summit today, along with Prime Ministers of Denmark, Iceland, Finland, Sweden and Norway. The summit has been hosted by Denmark. Mr. Modi will also hold bilateral meetings with Prime Minister of Iceland, Katrin Jakobsdottir, Prime Minister of Norway, Jonas Gahr Støre, Swedish Prime Minister Magdalena Andersson and Finland Prime Minister Sanna Marin. Our correspondent reports that the India-Nordic Summit will help in expanding India's multifaceted cooperation with the Nordic region.
The India-Nordic Summit will focus on subjects like post-pandemic economic recovery, climate change, innovation and technology, renewable energy, the evolving global security scenario, and India-Nordic cooperation in the Arctic region. Nordic countries are important partners for India in sustainability, renewable energy, digitization and innovation. Matters of regional and global interests will also come up for discussions. The principal focus of the summit is how to carry forward the agenda of bilateral engagement between India and the Nordic countries. The first India-Nordic Summit took place in 2018 in Stockholm. Suparna Seikya, IIR News, Delhi.
Yesterday, Prime Minister Narendra Modi held delegation-level talks with Denmark's Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen in Copenhagen. Both leaders reviewed the progress of the Green Strategic Partnership, which was the first of its kind arrangement between India and Denmark. After holding the delegation-level talks, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, in his address at the joint press meet, said that both India and Denmark not only share the values of democracy, freedom of expression and rule of law, but both also have complementary strengths. Mr. Modi mentioned that during the India-Denmark Virtual Summit in October 2020, two countries gave the relationship the status of a green strategic partnership, and during yesterday's discussion, the two leaders reviewed the joint work plan of Green Strategic Partnership.
दोनों देश लोकतंत्र, अभिव्यक्ति की स्वतंत्रता और कानून के शासन जैसे मूल्यों को तो साझा करते ही हैं, साथ में हम दोनों की कई कॉम्प्लीमेंट्री स्ट्रेंथ भी हैं। अक्टूबर 2020 में इंडिया डेनमार्क वर्चुअल समिट के दौरान हमने अपने संबंधों को ग्रीन स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप का दर्जा दिया था। हमने अपनी ग्रीन स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप के ज्वाइंट वर्क प्लान की समीक्षा की। मुझे खुशी है कि विभिन्न क्षेत्रों में विशेष रूप से रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी, स्वास्थ्य, पोर्ट्स, शिपिंग, सर्कुलर इकोनॉमी तथा वाटर मैनेजमेंट के क्षेत्रों में महत्वपूर्ण प्रगति हुई है।
The Prime Minister expressed happiness that significant progress has been made in various fields, especially in the areas of renewable energy, health, ports, shipping, circular economy and water management. Mr. Modi said more than 200 Danish companies are working in different sectors in India, and these companies are benefiting from increased ease of doing business and economic reforms in India. Both the leaders also discussed many regional and global issues, including India-EU relations, Indo-Pacific and Ukraine. Mr. Modi hoped that the negotiations on the India-EU free trade agreement will be concluded soon.
हमने भारत ईयू रिश्तों, इंडो पैसिफिक और यूक्रेन सहित कई क्षेत्रीय तथा वैश्विक मुद्दों पर भी बातचीत की। हम आशा करते हैं कि इंडिया ईयू फ्री ट्रेड एग्रीमेंट, उस पर नेगोशिएशंस यथाशीघ्र संपन्न होंगे। हमने एक फ्री, ओपन, इंक्लूसिव और रूल बेस्ड इंडो पैसिफिक क्षेत्रों को सुनिश्चित करने पर जोर दिया। हमने यूक्रेन में तत्काल युद्ध विराम और समस्या के समाधान के लिए बातचीत और कूटनीति का रास्ता अपनाने की अपील की।
In her address at the joint press meet, Denmark's Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen said that both the sides had a very productive meeting. She said the relations between India and Denmark are very strong. She added that we are moving fast in transforming our green strategic partnership into some concrete results. Earlier, 9 agreements were inked between the two countries in various sectors. During the last leg of the tour, the Prime Minister will briefly stop over in Paris and meet French President Emmanuel Macron. The visit to France will provide an opportunity to carry forward the high-level engagement between the two countries post the French presidential elections. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, along with the Prime Minister of Denmark, Mette Frederiksen, addressed and interacted with the Indian community at the Bella Center in Copenhagen. More than 1,000 members of the Indian community in Denmark, consisting of students, researchers, professionals and business persons, participated in the event. In his address, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said that inclusiveness and cultural diversity is the strength of the Indian community, which gives us a sense of liveliness every moment.
नई संभावनाओं की तरफ हम बढ़ने वाले हैं। मुझे खुशी है कि पूरे नॉर्डिक रीजन के साथ भी भारत के रिश्ते बहुत मजबूत हो रहे हैं। साथियों, दुनिया भर में फैले भारतीय डायस्पोरा को अगर मिला लिया जाए तो उनकी संख्या कई देशों की आबादी से अधिक होगी। उनका पहनावा, खान पान भले ही अलग अलग हो, लेकिन हमारी सोशल हार्मनी, वननेस और को एग्जिस्टेंस की जो वैल्यूज सभी भारतीयों में एक समान है और यही हमारी ताकत है। और जिनकी रूट किसी भी तरह मां भारती से जुड़ी हैं, वे स्वाभाविक तरह से लोकतंत्र और रूल ऑफ लॉ के प्रति सम्मान रखते ही है। एक भारतीय दुनिया में कहीं भी जाए, वो अपनी कर्मभूमि के लिए, उस देश के लिए पूरी ईमानदारी से कंट्रीब्यूट करता है।
The initial public offering IPO of the Life Insurance Corporation of India LIC is open for public subscription from today. It will remain open for subscription till 9th of May. LIC IPO is the biggest public offering in the country. Our correspondent reports that the allotment of shares to the demat account of bidders will take place by 16th of May and the IPO will list for trading on 17th of May.
The country's largest life insurer, LIC, had fixed the price band of 902 to 949 rupees per equity share for its maiden public offer. Investors can bid for a minimum of 15 equity shares and in multiples of 15 shares thereafter. The floor price is 90.2 times the face value of the equity share and the cap price is 94.9 times the face value of the equity share. The LIC has offered a discount of 45 rupees per share to retail and eligible employee category and 60 rupees per share to policyholder category. With this IPO, the government is looking to divest its 3.5% stake in the insurer by selling 22 crore 13 lakh shares. The government aims to raise around 21,000 crore rupees through IPO. Anand Kumar, AIR News, Delhi.
The central government has released the Civil Registration System CRS Report 2020 based on birth and death reports. According to the report, the number of registered births has decreased from 2.48 crore from 2019 to 2.42 crore in the year 2020, showing a decrease of about 2.40%. The Vital Statistics of India based on the Civil Registration System for 2020 report said that in case of registered deaths, the number has increased from 76.4 lakh in the year 2019 to 81.2 lakhs in 2020, showing an increase of 6.2%. Out of the total registered deaths, the share of males is 60.2% and female share is 39.8%. Some states and union territories, namely Maharashtra, Bihar, Gujarat, West Bengal, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Assam and Haryana have contributed significantly in the increased number of deaths registered from 2019 to 2020. On the report, Niti Aayog member Health, Dr. V.K. Paul said that the number of births and deaths incorporated in the report are actual numbers which are collected from around 3 lakh registration units across the country. Dr. Paul said there is no modelling in it.
लगभग 3 लाख के करीब रजिस्ट्रेशन यूनिट्स हैं, वहां से ये डेटा आता है, उसको प्रमाणित किया जाता है और फिर ये डेटा एंटर होता है सिस्टम में, स्टेट्स उसको एनालाइज करते हैं और स्टेट्स पीरियोडिकली एक टाइम बाउंड तरीके से रजिस्ट्रार जनरल ऑफ इंडिया को देते हैं। आज जो हमारे पास जो डेटा सामने आया है सन 2020 का है। It is a routine system which is well established, which is under the law and a very systematic. It is a very federal system where states are playing the key role and Registrar General of India का जो ऑफिस है उसको कोऑर्डिनेट करता है।
CRS is a universal, continuous, compulsory and permanent recording of birth, death and stillbirth. Registration of birth and death is done under Registration of Birth and Death Act, RBD 1969. These figures include deaths due to COVID-19 and other reasons.
India's COVID vaccination coverage has exceeded 189 crore 48 lakhs so far. Over 2 crore 95 lakh first doses of vaccine have been administered to the age group of 12 to 14 years of age. India's active COVID caseload currently stands at 19,509. A total of 3,205 new cases were reported in the last 24 hours. The recovery rate stands at 98.74%. A total of 2,802 patients have recovered in the last 24 hours. Well, you are listening to the Midday News on All India Radio. Here's a reminder of the headlines before we move on. People must be at the heart of any infrastructure growth story, says Prime Minister Narendra Modi in a video message to 4th edition of International Conference on Disaster Resilient Infrastructure. Prime Minister to take part in 2nd IndiaNordic Summit in Denmark this evening. India and Denmark signed 9 agreements. Prime Minister Modi holds talks with his Danish counterpart Mette Frederiksen in Copenhagen. IPO of Life Insurance Corporation of India worth 21,000 crore rupees opens for public subscription today. Government releases Civil Registration System Report 2020. Number of registered births decreases by 2.40% from 2.48 crores in 2019 to 2.42 crores in the year 2020. President Nath Kovind addresses concluding session of Bodo Sahitya Sabha in Tamulpur, Assam, lauds concerted efforts in Northeast region for peace and development. 12th Hockey India Sub-Junior Men's National Championship 2022 begins in Goa today. IPL 2022 playoffs and final schedule announced. And in today's IPL, Royal Challengers Bangalore to take on Chennai Super Kings at Maharashtra Cricket Association Stadium in Pune. Well, for quick news updates around the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts.
कंपटीशन की अगर आप कर रहे हैं तैयारी तो उनके लिए ऑल इंडिया रेडियो पर हम लाए हैं अभ्यास, एक ऐसा कार्यक्रम जिसमें आप पूछेंगे सवाल व्हाट्सएप नंबर 9289094044 पर या फिर ईमेल करेंगे abhyas.airnews@gmail.com पर और हमारे विशेषज्ञ देंगे इसका जवाब। इस बार का विषय है पब्लिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन। सवाल भेजने की अंतिम तारीख है 4 मई। आपका अभ्यास हमारा प्रयास।
Welcome back. You are listening to the Midday News. President Nath Kovind appreciated the combined efforts of the Union government and the state government for bringing in peace and fast-paced development in the Northeast region in the recent years. He was speaking at the concluding session of the Bodo Sahitya Sabha in Tamulpur district of Assam this morning. The President said language and literature connect the people. He also appreciated the efforts of the Bodo Sahitya Sabha for the initiatives for development and promotion of the Bodo language and said it is the duty of the society to protect and preserve the language. It was a historic moment for the Bodo Sahitya Sabha as Nath Kovind is the first president ever to have attended any literary event of any language in the northeastern region. The Chief of Naval Staff, Admiral R. Hari Kumar, today said that the country aims to achieve regional maritime security through respect, dialogue, cooperation, peace and prosperity. He was speaking after conferring the Gallantry and Distinguished Service Awards to the naval personnel at the investiture ceremony held at the naval base in Kochi this morning. He said that as the Navy continues to expand its operational footprint to preserve and protect the country's national maritime interests, it is the unwavering professionalism and never say die spirit of the naval personnel that ensure success.
Union Minister for Information and Broadcasting Anurag Thakur held an informal meeting with editors and senior journalists based in Bengaluru today. The minister spoke on the recently concluded Khelo India University Games and his meeting with Karnataka Film Chamber of Commerce members yesterday. The minister assured the media representatives to look into the issues raised by them. In Kerala, isolated heavy rain accompanied by lightning and thunderstorms will continue till Saturday. Met Department has also forecast strong winds up to a speed of 40 kilometers per hour. Yellow alert has been issued to Malappuram and Idukki districts today. Idukki will continue to be under alert tomorrow.
IMD has issued a yellow alert in view of heavy rainfall in the hill districts of Uttarakhand today and tomorrow. Along with this, the possibility of winds with 40 to 50 kilometers per hour velocity has also been predicted. Today, the plains, including the capital Dehradun, are cloudy with strong winds blowing. According to the Meteorological Department, there may be light to moderate rains at isolated places across the state for the next 4 days. And now, let's listen to a special program, Azadi Ka Safar, highlighting the importance of the day during the freedom struggle.
आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव।
Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. Birth of a Nation. India's glorious freedom struggle is one of the greatest struggles the modern world has ever witnessed. AIR News brings you a glimpse of this struggle every day.
In today's episode, we remember revolutionary freedom fighter Atul Krishna Ghosh, who died on the 4th of May 1966. Atul Krishna was associated with the Jugantar Group and Anushilan Samiti. He was closely associated with the great revolutionary freedom fighter Bagha Jatin.
Atul Krishna was born in 1890 in Nadia district, now in Bangladesh. While studying in his final year of graduation at Presidency College, Kolkata, he got associated with Bagha Jatin and joined the Anushilan Samiti. He, along with Jatin, founded the revolutionary organization Pathuriya Ghat Abhyayam Samiti.
Following his arrest and release in the Howrah conspiracy case, Bagha Jatin suspended activities and left Kolkata in 1911 under the responsibility of Atul Krishna. As an organizer, Atul Krishna sheltered revolutionaries. Later, a few members of the Anushilan Samiti formed a new branch of the Seva Samiti under Atul Krishna Ghosh. During this time, Atul Krishna maintained contact with many revolutionaries, including Rash Bihari Bose, Gurdeep Singh, Tarak Nath Das, and other Komagata Maru patriots.
हमने जब वादिये गुर्बत में कदम रखा था, दूर तक याद वतन आई थी समझाने को.
At the beginning of the First World War, Atul Krishna Ghosh and Bagha Jatin tried to obtain weapons in Germany and launch a revolution against British rule. However, the British authorities became aware of the situation and attacked Balasore, where the weapons were to be delivered. Bagha Jatin was martyred during the operation. The death of Bagha Jatin left Atul Krishna shattered. He was arrested in 1924 and released after 2 years. Atul Krishna passed away on the 4th of May 1966. We salute this great Indian.
We also remember freedom fighter Kyasamaballi Chingalaraya Reddy, who was born on the 4th of May 1902 in Kolar district, Karnataka. Reddy is recognized for his role in replacing the Maharaja's rule with a stable government in the princely state of Mysore. After independence, Reddy became the first chief minister of the Mysore state. The state was considerably enlarged in 1956 when it became a linguistically homogeneous Kannada-speaking state within the Union of India and was subsequently renamed as the state of Karnataka.
Reddy was a revolutionary from a very young age. He founded the Prajapaksha after graduating from law school in 1930. The party's main aim was to install a stable government in the princely state of Mysore and support the cause of farmers. The organization soon joined forces with the Prajamitra Mandali and united as the Praja Samyukta Paksha or Mysore People's Federation in 1934.
K.C. Reddy served as the president of the Mysore People's Federation from 1935 to 1937. After 1937, the federation joined forces with the Indian National Congress in the fight for freedom. Reddy also led the Mysore Congress as its president. He served as a member of the Constituent Assembly of India.
After the independence of India in 1947, Reddy was at the forefront of the Mysore Chalo movement, seeking a responsible state government in Mysore state, and went on to become the first chief minister of the state.
This is All India Radio, Bangalore and Bhadravati. Sri K.C. Reddy speaks on Gandhiji and independence.
Many countries gained their independence before and some later than India did. But what is remarkable about Indian independence is that it was achieved by non-violent means instead of resorting to violence. This aspect of Indian independence will ever be enshrined in the temple of history. as unique and deserving of homage and adoration.
After his term as Chief Minister, he was elected to be a member of the Mysore Legislative Assembly in 1952.
Subsequently, he served as a member of the Rajya Sabha from 1952 to 1957 and as a member of the Lok Sabha representing Kolar from 1957 to 1962. Reddy also served as the governor of Madhya Pradesh from 1965 to 1971. Till his death in 1976, Reddy continued to serve the people. We salute the great Indian.
And that brings us to the end of this episode of Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. See you in the next episode tomorrow.
In some news just in, Prime Minister Narendra Modi today met Prime Minister of Norway in Copenhagen on the sidelines of the second IndiaNordic Summit. This was the first meeting between the two leaders since the assumption of office by Prime Minister Støre in October last year. Both Prime Ministers reviewed the ongoing activities in bilateral relations and discussed future areas of cooperation. Prime Minister highlighted that Norway's skills and India's scope provided natural complementarities. Both leaders discussed the potential for deepening engagement in areas like blue economy, renewable energy, green hydrogen, solar and wind projects, green shipping, fisheries, water management, rainwater harvesting, space cooperation, long-term infrastructure investment, health and culture. The discussions also took place on regional and global developments.
The 12th Hockey India Sub-Junior Men National Championship 2022 will start in Goa this afternoon. A total of 29 teams will participate in the tournament. The participating teams are divided into 8 pools. Pool matches will be played on the initial 8 days and these will be followed by quarterfinals on May the 12th and semi-finals on May the 14th. The final match is scheduled to be played on May the 15th. The Board of Control for Cricket in India, BCCI, has announced the schedule and venue details of the IPL 2022 playoffs and final. The qualifiers in the playoff stage will start from May the 24th and the final of the tournament will be played on May the 29th. The qualifier 1 and the eliminator will be played in Kolkata, while the qualifier 2 and the summit clash will be hosted at Narendra Modi Stadium in Ahmedabad. BCCI Secretary Jay Shah confirmed the playoff games will be played with full-capacity crowds for the first time in 2 years. Meanwhile, Royal Challengers Bangalore will take on Chennai Super Kings at Maharashtra Cricket Association Stadium in Pune at 7:30 p.m. Tesla chief Elon Musk has said that Twitter Inc. will always be free for casual users but may charge a nominal fee for commercial and government users. After adding the company to his cart recently, Musk said he wanted to enhance the platform with new features, make the algorithms open source to increase trust, defeat spam bots and authenticate all humans.
Now let us take a look at the weather update for the day. The national capital Delhi is expected to have dust storm or thunderstorm. The minimum temperature was 29 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be around 39 degrees. Mumbai is expected to have mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. Chennai is likely to have partly cloudy sky, and Kolkata is likely to have rain or thunder showers with strong gusty winds. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. People must be at the heart of any infrastructure growth story, says Prime Minister Narendra Modi in a video message to the 4th edition of International Conference on Disaster Resilient Infrastructure. Prime Minister to take part in the second IndiaNordic Summit in Denmark this evening. India and Denmark signed 9 agreements. Prime Minister Modi holds talks with his Danish counterpart Mette Frederiksen in Copenhagen. IPO of Life Insurance Corporation of India worth 21,000 crore rupees opens for public subscription today. Government releases Civil Registration System Report 2020. Number of registered births decreases by 2.40% from 2.48 crores in 2019 to 2.42 crore in the year 2020. President Nath Kovind addresses concluding session of the Bodo Sahitya Sabha in Tamilpur, Assam, lauds concerted efforts in Northeast region for peace and development. 12th Hockey India Sub-Junior Men's National Championship 2022 begins in Goa today. IPL 2022 playoffs and final schedule announced. And in today's IPL, Royal Challengers Bangalore to take on Chennai Super Kings at the Maharashtra Cricket Association Stadium in Pune. And with that we end the Midday News.